Hey, it's a celebration. Come on in. It's a celebration. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, this is Tiffany Devon, and I am a certified life coach and wardrobe stylist that styles leaders and influencers in fearless fashions. And I am celebrating the 1 year anniversary of Silhouette of a Queen. That's why you see me with my pom poms, because I am cheering. Not only am I cheering myself on, but I'm cheering you on as well. Wherever you are watching this live, wherever it finds you in the world, there's a lot to celebrate. Listen, I'm going to tell you why there is a lot to celebrate. Okay. We are celebrating the fact that we are here. We are here a year later, however, God sees fit. However, you are watching this video, if you had to make it here limping, you got to celebrate the small victories. And so I want to celebrate with you. I'm celebrating because when I birthed Silhouette of a Queen, I had no idea the work that was laid ahead of me. I had no idea the work that God would call me to do, the things that I would have to give up. I have given up so much. And when I talk about so much, I'm not talking about necessarily material things, although sometimes I do believe that God calls you to give those things up, especially if they are, become idols in your life. If it's something that you feel like it makes you who you are, but mine wasn't necessarily those things. It was attitudes, it was perspective, it was the way that I was moving in the world that God was challenging me to do differently and to behave differently. And so it didn't always feel good, but it was for my good. And so we got to celebrate. We got to celebrate because it's a celebration. It's a celebration. All right. So, for those of you, if you are new to watching the Silhouette of a Queen segment, again, I am Tiffany Devon. And like I said, I've been doing this for a year. And as I have been preparing for this week, I have been looking back at some of the Silhouette of a Queen segments over the year, looking at some of the notes and some of the things that I have grown in, things I have been enlightened about. And one of the ones in particular was the very first Silhouette of a Queen last year, June of 2020. Let me just kind of run you back on where I was mentally and what I was thinking at the time that God placed an urgency to launch Silhouette of a Queen. It was during the time just shortly after George Floyd was murdered. And the world was experiencing racial injustice and unrest like unlike ever before. And I felt like, man, God, you're calling me to speak a message that is not really addressing what's going on in the world. Is this going to be insensitive? Like, I don't know about this thing. He told me to just be bold, be brave, be obedient, and launch it. And when I did launch it, it just began to just, it planted a seed in my heart about just really surrendering and submitting to God's way of doing things in a higher perspective than my own. And one of the things that when I was rewatching some of the segments of Silhouette of a Queen, the very first one was one of my guest panelists, Joe Patterson, who has been on the Silhouette of a Queen before, and her segment was called Becoming Queen. And she was talking about how you are already born a queen, but it is up to you to fulfill it. It is up to you to position yourself to be groomed by God and to follow, his leading and the things that he's allowing. And I could see just from what she was talking about how even in this past year that I've had to give up some things. And God said to me, Tiffany, I will never ask you to give up something without it being in exchange for something greater. And God truly, truly is in that. What have we learned after being in the house for a year, for an entire year? I did a segment last month called Lessons from the Pandemic, and I was just sharing with you guys some of the things that came up for me. And what I can tell you is, as the world is opening back up, as they say, wanting to return back to some sense of normalcy. But let me tell you something. We're not going back to normal. No, we're not. I know you want to think we are. We're taking off the mask and all of those things. Yes, we're getting rid of the mask and all of those different things. But normal as we know it is over. It's over. And we're getting ready to see what's on the other side of all of this ugly. That's why I titled this segment, Let's Glow Up Together, because we are in this moment of getting ready to glow up. When you think of a glow, you think of something that's radiating, something that is emanating from you, that's beaming. There's something different about you, right? And that is why God preserved us, because we're getting ready to glow up. People are going to say, how do you have the answers for this? There are going to be people who are going to need what we have. This is why it's been so important for us to go through this process. Listen, I know the process wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. It ain't been pretty for me either. But what I can tell you is that I've learned a lot of valuable lessons. And that's why I want to talk to you tonight. The the first part of the Let's Glow Up is talking about dimensions. Now, when we think about dimensions, I want you to think about this. There is, you think about dimensions, you think about expansion, depth, and capacity. And the capacity really means just your ability to be able to hold something, to expand into something greater. Something, think of it like, as a little girl, when you were putting on high heels that were bigger than you, right? And how you would walk around and your feet would be sloughing in them because it was just too big. Think of it like that, where we are in the world today. There is this new dimension that we are in is pregnant with possibilities, and we're stepping into something that feels so much bigger than us. It's crazy because you're like, I don't even know if I could do this. I don't even know if I could fulfill this. And God said to me, even today, He said to me, Tiffany, I'm not asking you to have it together because you don't, but I do. So relax. And you talk about going like this. And that just soothed all of the, I gotta have it together. I gotta have it together. Let me tell you where this is coming from. So, as I'm talking about dimensions, I want to talk about seasons. Because in order for you to understand this part of the story that I'm getting ready to go in, this new season in my life started in 2018 when I left a job that I had been on for 10 years. And I spent a period of time after I left that job. I was unemployed for 9 months. And it was the best time of my life. Like, I lived so much better unemployed than I did working. Like, I mean, like, people were like, wow, like, you are living better than you were when you were unemployed. And I really thank God for that season, because it just allowed me to have a state of rest, for God to just really restore into me and pour into me. And so that season started in 2018. I got this new job. I was traveling with the new job and training. I mean, I really just began to see a new level of possibility that awaited me. And in those 3 years, I was putting in the work. I was learning as much as I possibly could. I was answering, asking questions as much as I possibly could, because I knew that whenever God opened the door, that I wanted to be ready. I wanted to step in with confidence. And so I got a promotion about 2 weeks ago, and I've been really excited about it. But it is what I'm talking about, the dimensions. It's something bigger than me. It's something I've never done before. And so that's why God had to put it to me like this, like, I'm not asking you to have it together, because you don't. So why are you showing up thinking you have to have it together, that you have to know what you're doing? You don't. That's why I'm here. And so that was just a very humbling experience for me to know that I do not have to feel like I have it together. Now, before that, I used to struggle with really feeling like, was I seen? Was I valued? Was I heard? And when you see life through the lens of trauma, or low self-esteem or brokenness or anything like that, it will make it appear as though, hmm, nobody sees me, nobody hears me. Why should I even speak up? That's not the case. Let me help you to flip that. I can now see that it wasn't my time to be seen. It wasn't my time to be heard, okay? Because my value needed to come from God in private. When God is um has it as what you think is answering your prayers, you're praying for something and doesn't seem like he does he even hear you. He heard you. In fact, he's like, oh, okay, you want that. Oh, okay. She doesn't know what it's going to take to actually have the capacity to receive what she's asking for. So I've got to prepare her for what she's asking for. And so he'll take you and allow you to go through this obstacle course, and you're just like, I don't understand this. I'm just trying to get over here. Why am I way over here? Why are you taking me over? This doesn't make sense. Why would you? And God is just like, will you stop murmuring, complaining, and just trust me? Relax. I got this. I'm going to provide for you in the midst of this. While you're thinking, how am I going to get this? And how am I going to pay for this? And I'm going over here, and nobody knows me. And you just don't know. Along that path, as you keep moving, you will meet somebody that is supposed to assist you on your journey. So I want to help you to understand too that a season of seclusion is just for development. It's just for development. It is to allow God to pour something into you and take something out, because he knows that in that promotion, whatever your promotion is, it doesn't always have to be a job promotion. Your promotion could be just having a new mindset, because he knows the importance and value of having a new mindset. If you don't have a new mindset, you won't even be able to hold what you're doing. You may not even be able to handle the relationship that you're praying for if you don't go through what you're going through in the alone season. So he's working things out of you. And when you get there, you'll be like, oh my, I'm so glad I went through that. I'm glad I have the strength and the ability to stand in that, because, ooh, I always say this, like, ooh, if the old me may have said this a little differently. The old me wouldn't have got this result. Oh, so I understand why God has to say sometimes be quiet. Sometimes God has to say, oh, speak up. You know what I mean? Those different things. And so I want to talk to you also about just giving up. I call it the art of complaining, because you can complain your way through, and it's really not about complaining. You just ask God to shift your perspective and ask him to help you to learn and know what it is that you're learning, so that you can continue to go through the process. Okay? You'll also want to identify your why. Why are you doing this? Because if you don't know your why, when the season gets tough and when it gets tough and challenging, you'll forfeit the whole program. So you'll want to understand, like, if I'm going to place myself in situations that are going to be truly uncomfortable for me, what's the end result? Freedom. So then, if your objective is to be free in your life, and you know that you have to start getting out and socializing more and it's going to be uncomfortable, then what's on the other side of it is far more greater than your ability to be anxious about being around other people. So it's really about saying, counting up the cost so that you can stick through the process. I love this scripture that talks about creation eagerly waits for the manifestation of the children of God. Romans 8, verses 19. And that goes with, what I was talking about earlier about the expansion and the capacity, because we are the answer to what this world needs. And so we need to be able to take advantage of what's happening in the world. And I know it can be a bit nerve wracking and make you feel anxious, because it's like, well, what am I doing? How should I move? The world is different. And I don't know if you know this, but you have to know that the world is different. We're in a different space. We're in a different level of awareness. We're more aware than ever before. And this is why it's so important for us to not lose our voice and to be able to speak things into the atmosphere, because it's so pregnant with possibilities. And so when we don't stand up and take our place to put our voice into the world, someone else that could be a counterfeit will come in and take that space. And because um, their level of wisdom could be rooted in brokenness and is being marketed as enlightenment. I am it's just like, oh my God, we are no, that's not the real answer. So it's so important for us to take our space. Also, too, as we are in this new dimension, it is so important that you build your bubble. I mean, you got to be intentional about this bubble. And you have to know this in this new dimension, because we have ascended, right? Even Jesus, when he was ascending, couldn't have everybody touching and having access to him, because what is in you and what God wants to birth out of you is so important, is so valuable, that certain people who don't understand what you're doing, not because they're necessarily being haters, although sometimes that comes with the territory, but sometimes people just out of their own lack of understanding for what God has put in you, they won't be able to see it. So you have to guard yourself. You have to put yourself in a bubble, and you have to tell yourself this process is not personal, it's purposeful. You have to tell yourself, because it's going to hurt. Every time that I have shifted in my life, I've had to reposition people in my life. And when I tell you it was painful, it was painful. It was so painful, because these were people they were faithful to me. They walked with me through a season in my life. And now God is saying it's time for you to move. And I'm just like, they are just gonna think I'm cutting them off. And God said, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I got you. Let me deal with it. This is not personal, it's purposeful. Also, as you're ascending with this bubble, building your bubble with your friendships, with mentors, coaches, therapists, because these are people as you're ascending. Because in this new space we're in, yes, we have confidence. We have some level of confidence, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't even be where we are, what we're doing. God has proven himself to be faithful to us in this season. So we're confident in him. But in this space, Jesus, what are you doing? I don't understand. So you have to build this bubble with people that are in the same space as you, and they are ascending and coming up as well. As I said, it's time to glow up. So we're all glowing up. So we need to be able to glow up together. Glow up together. So how you're going to do this, you're going to be testing the waters a little bit. You're going to have to see if this is a person that you can have in your bubble. Now, again, this is not conceited. This is not, just cutting people off. Remember, it is not personal. It's purposeful. So you're going to have to test the waters a little bit with saying little things to see what people say and see how they respond. If they say, oh, well, I mean, ooh, you can't tell them anything else. Sorry, it's not personal, it's purposeful. They can't handle it. So you already know, like, I already know, I love you. This is not personal, it's purposeful. I can't share this with you because what I have is so valuable. I can't let anybody taint it. Okay, so once you see that maybe this is not a person that you can really rock and gel with right now in this new dimension, then you have to place a boundary and not tell them as much. Still call them, still check on them, still text them, but you just know you just can't share that piece of information. All right. So now we need to determine all of that. Then we can begin to determine who sits on the front row, who sits on the second row, who sits in the balcony. I've said this so many times on this segment. I love to use this illustration about putting people in the balcony, because really what that is saying is that you're not cutting people off. You're just repositioning them. It just means that they no longer have front row seat access to your life and what's going on. You can still be like, if you're sitting on the front row, you can still go, hey, how you doing? Always good to see you. All right. Boom. Or if you're standing on the front of the stage, you can see them up there and wave. Hey, okay. Boom. See how easy that is? Again, this is purposeful. It's not personal. All right. And we just have to know that some people won't be able to handle our glow up, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It will hurt. I'm not going to lie to you. It will hurt, but you have to tell yourself it's not purpose. It's not personal. It's purposeful. So let's talk about our heart, the heart glow, because when people see us glowing, what they're really seeing is this internal space of gratitude, of just the season that we've come out of, right? um Goodness gracious, I went to church for the first time this past Sunday, and I just had tears flowing down my face because I recognized that it was just only 25% of people in there. And I remember when it used to be a packed house. And it made me think, I wonder how many of these people that I used to see sitting on me, or not sitting in the same row as me, are maybe no longer here anymore. That's reality. And so the fact that God saw fit to preserve me, that I'm walking here, I don't take that lightly. And I mean, I it almost brings me to tears now, because I sometimes I say, what was so special about me that you preserved my life and gave me such a message that to speak to the women that are assigned to my voice. So if you are here, I appreciate you. Yes, Joe Patterson, I'm always crying. I am always crying because I am such a worshiper in my heart. It just doesn't take much for me to cry. Listen, Jesus know. Look, one time I was at the altar one time, just crying, like I just crying. I looked up, got back to the car after church was over. One lash just was gone, just gone. I said, "Okay, Jesus, you wasn't gonna tell me that you just took my lash. You just you, but you left me with one though. Okay." So before you get promoted, where we are in this season, there was a series of purging that was taking place in this year pandemic. And I like to think of it like looking at God's fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self control. It gave us an opportunity to really see who was flowing in that in this season, huh? You could see it on our news channels with the people that maybe we work around. I mean, God has pointed out so many things to me in this season. It just makes me go, oh, oh, oh. How even in his body of believers, like this spirit of haughtiness that we have. And I had to look up the word, and it's just a person that looks and talks down on other people, and that is people in his kingdom. And he's like, my new leaders, you can't have that. That's why the process has been long. That's why it's been gruesome. Because we have some generals in the faith that have a haughtiness spirit. A person with a haughtiness spirit can never apologize. They have a problem with apologizing. They will make it about you and not them. And they will say things like, you're just being too sensitive. Instead of really stepping back to look at, well, maybe I should have said it differently. So anyway, that's a whole nother teaching that I can kind of get into. Um, I'll probably have to come back and teach on that, but we got to make sure our heart glow and posture is that which is pleasing to God. I want to leave you with this tonight. So I was watching an interview with Oprah or earlier this week, and she did an interview with a psychiatrist. His name was Bruce Perry, and she released a book called "What Happened to You," and it's in regards to trauma and triggers and things that she had encountered throughout her life. And what I really appreciated about that interview was her level of transparency. I'm just like, this is Oprah. Oprah don't have to share this with her life. And so she was talking about how when she was a little girl, culturally, in the Black culture, we got whoopings and we had to pick our own switch and all of that. So she was talking about that experience of her having to pick her own switch and how it made her feel. And she said, a lot of us grew up saying, well, I picked my own switch and I'm fine and nothing came out of me. And so she said, but what she didn't know was how that moment and a lot of moments like that in her childhood, of course, she would be raped and was put out on the front porch of a person's house because she was too dark and all of these things, and being whooped and said, I'm doing it for your good. And so she was saying that it taught her as she got older to be a people pleaser. And she said, even when I became Oprah Winfrey and I had my own network, and she said she remembered that she was having to have this difficult conversation with someone. And this level of anxiety just rose up within her. And she's thinking like, I'm successful. Like, why am I having a hard time with this? And so she was able to do some work and connect it back to these things that happened to her in her life. And so she said, she no longer asks the question of what's wrong with you, which is the old model of psychology when it comes to dealing with, trauma and, going to counseling. It was always like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And the bigger question is, what happened to you? Because there is something that made you show up that way. And so she said, because of all of that happened to her, it is why she gives on the level that she gives, because she wanted to give what she didn't get as a child. And it made me think of that as I was listening to that interview. It made me think of why I am the way that I am. When I'm teaching and I'm training, people have often said that you are so patient. Even when people are asking you the same question over and over and over, I never see your face go, you again. They said you just keep at it. And I said, yeah, the reason why I do, because I didn't get that as a child. I There came a point in my life where I was very smart academically. I used to get trophies for my good grades and all of this. And it was making me proud. It was making my parents proud. And it got to a point in my life where I was stumbling on some of the work projects, school projects. And I just was no longer able to float through it like I used to. And so I would get this level of frustration and like, why are you not getting this? Why are you not getting this? And so over a period of time, I just told myself, well, I'm just not smart. I'm not that smart enough. I'm not that smart enough. And that was a story that I told myself. And so as I grew up and I had to revisit that and bring a level of healing to it, I now said to myself, I will never make somebody else feel that way because they're not getting it on my timeline or on my accord, or saying to them, I can't believe you didn't get this. It's not that hard. That's why I don't give that energy out to other people. So I was really touched by that. And so I love it because I often say, be the change in the world that you wish to see. Because as I'm ascending into this level of glowing, I've been looking for women who have a level of humility, and it's hard to find. It's hard to find women. They can give you the wisdom from their walk, but they often don't tell you the stumbles that they had to go through to get the wisdom, how they may have felt insecure sitting at certain tables. How did you work yourself through it? It's hard. So I could appreciate that story coming from Oprah tonight. So, anyhow, as you all know, again, we are in this season of Let's Glow Up Together. I hope that you are glowing. Continue to spread your light, share your light no matter what. We all have to build a community to continue to glow together, because that's what it's about. Because I do believe that we are placed here for such a time as this. And I'm just so excited that you guys are watching. And again, I'm going to bring this to a close, but continue to share your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate you watching. I see a couple of my girls in here tonight that have graced the Silhouette of a Queen platform, and that's Joe Patterson. I see you. I see you. And Laval Ezel, I see you as well. So, ladies, let's continue to glow up together, okay? And it doesn't matter how many times you stumble. I like this. It's a proverb somewhere. It's not from the Bible, but it says, fall down 7, stand up 8. Okay. It's going to happen. You're going to fall. You're going to fall. You're going to fall. You're going to do it. We're going to do a lot of that in this dimension, but we're learning because God is taking us down a path we've never done before. We're pioneering something new that's never been done before. This is why you've always been different. This is why you've been cut from a different cloth. People didn't understand your ideas. They look at you and go like, I don't get it. I've never seen it before. Guess what? They weren't supposed to. They weren't supposed to see your ideas. They weren't supposed to understand it. Why? Because it is for this dimension. It is for this time. And again, I got to bring you back to that scripture, Romans 8:19. What I said earlier, creation eagerly awaits for the manifestation of the children of God. Our time is now. Let's glow up together. Thank you for watching tonight. And I'll see you guys in the comments section. I love y'all. We are still going to be celebrating because it's a celebration. It's a celebration. Your time is now, sis. Your time is now, sis. Go grab that little girl in you and tell her it's time. Bring her with you. I don't care if you feel like she's still broken, she's still got repair to do. That's okay. God is going to repair you as you walk. He is going to repair you as you walk. He doesn't need you to have it together, just like he told me, because he said, I got it together. That's okay. I got it together. And that's all that matters. So happy. Let's glow up together. All right. I'll see you all later.